So today we're going to talk about creating high impact Blazor dashboards for embedded analytics. My name is Jason Barris. I'm our Senior VP of Developer Tools at Infragistics. With me is Casey McGuigan, our product manager on Reveal. She's been with the product since the beginning, as have I. So if you have any questions today, please use the chat and send to everyone, or use the Q&A and we will answer those. And if there are questions that I can answer live as I'm doing the demo, I'll go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do today is spend hopefully more time on demo. I have a few slides I want to go through, and then we're going to talk about the benefits of embedded analytics in the slides, the features, but really the demo is about how you can get embedded analytics into your Blazor apps very easily. And if you've been to any of the previous webinars on Reveal where I've shown like HTML, JavaScript, Angular, you're going to see some recurring patterns here. The way that we've built this SDK is that it is very easy to get this going in any type of web client. So if you're using Vue.js, if you're using React, if you're using Angular, there are very little changes. It's basically a platform level change that you would make. Like if it expects you to reference something a certain way, you would just modify that. But in general, the code is identical no matter the platform. So what is embedded analytics and what's the value? Embedded analytics takes business intelligence and integrates it into your existing application. So if you think about Microsoft Power BI, that is a software as a service where you log in and you have all of your analytics there. So you're using the Power BI platform online, and that's kind of what you're doing. It's not inside of your application. You're not using your own app data or maybe other data connectors within the WPF, .NET, React, Angular app. It's you're going to another app, doing something, then coming back to your app. The idea with embedded analytics is you get those insights and integrations of analytics, dashboards, visualizations right in context in your existing applications. So what this allows you to do is bring all different data sources into your own products, so you don't force people to go somewhere else to get information that they need to make decisions. And that's really the difference between a software as a service versus an embedded analytics experience. And there's a question around, can embedded analytics do tabular reporting to a shopping cart invoice? Sure. The way that this works is you can basically do tabular sort of, if you want your data in like a data grid and then drill down or drill into other reports, you can absolutely do that with embedded analytics. There's really no limit. Now, is this an invoicing, like create a custom invoice looking thing? No, that's not what these tools do. You would use something like your Crystal reports or some report writer to do that. This is about dashboards, data visualizations, tabular data visualizations, doing drill downs, linking to other dashboards. All that stuff is possible with embedded analytics. And why should you care? So 87% of application providers responded in a Gartner survey saying that embedded analytics or getting embedded analytics into their applications was very important to their users. And why is that? Because if you are constantly having to jump around to find information you need to get your job, you're just spending a lot of time doing stuff that you would otherwise have right within your own application. So keeping it in context is really where you get the benefit. Microsoft did a survey or study, and if you use Windows, there's hundreds of millions of people use Windows every day, and Windows is constantly tracking analytics. And I did a presentation last year where I noted an article that said that the human attention span now is less than a goldfish. So in the year 2001, the average human attention span was around 13 to 15 seconds. By today, it is around 9 seconds. So our attention span keeps getting lower and lower and lower because we have way more incoming stuff, notifications, emails, text messages. So the ability to focus and get things done is harder and harder. So if you have data within the application that you're using, you'll be much better off, and your users will be very happy with the applications that you're providing. And most of our customers are looking at embedded analytics as a digital transformation project, or they're looking at it as the ability to increase revenue. So there's this increased productivity perspective, which I would say ties into digital transformation. So you might have a legacy application that you want to upgrade, and it's part of a bigger, larger effort. And that's where digital transformation comes in. We have white papers and we've done webinars on data-driven culture and decision-making. Embedded analytics really does drive that. And then competitive advantage. You have competitors who are doing something more unique and maybe more interesting than you, and maybe it's on your roadmap for next year, the year after. But if you do a beautiful embedded analytic transformation of your app, then all of a sudden you kind of leapfrog them, and then increase revenue. We have customers that look at this and say, hey, we're going to charge an extra $500 or $1,000 per user for this new reporting module, and then they get more revenue. So with that, let's take a look and see how this works. So this is a technical demo. We're going to be using Visual Studio. We're going to be using a Blazor client. We're going to be using our App Builder product to actually build out a UI. And we're going to use an ASP.NET Core Web API as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my browser window over, and I'm going to jump into our App Builder product. If you're not familiar with App Builder, you can go to infragistics.com, and I will show you here. Here's infragistics.com. Go to Design Development, click App Builder, and click Try App Builder. And what it is, it's a WYSIWYG for the web. So you can very quickly drag and drop controls from a toolbox, and then you're building out an app, and then you get your Blazor code, your Angular code, whatever it might be. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and let's create a new app. So the first time you sign in, you're brought to sort of your little homepage here. You've got the concept of workspaces where you can be working with others, but I'm just going to do a new app, and we offer a bunch of different sample apps, templates. You can import Adobe XD or Sketch designs. I'm just going to use this basic template, which has a header across the top with some basic navigation, and then I will navigate to some screens. So I'm going to delete my view 3, and my first button here that I want to navigate to is my dashboard's card view, I guess. We'll call it that. You'll see why in a second. And then we'll call this one dashboard list. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Basically, it's going to be the same type of interaction, but it's going to be presented differently. So here, what I have is my dashboard screen. And here's going to be my dashboard viewer screen. And this guy we're going to call dashboard list. So, whoops, better spell it right though. Or list. So there we go. So now what am I going to do on these screens? So for my dashboard screen, what I want to do is actually list all of the dashboards that I have available to me. Now, what I've done here is I have stored, and this is what you would be doing, is you probably have database somewhere in the cloud or on-prem, and in there is the names of dashboards, where they're located, who added them, when they were up. Like, you can do all this stuff yourself, or you could simply use the file system and load dashboards. I actually have a live piece of data here. We have an app called Excel2JSON. Let me get this guy here. And in Excel2JSON, I've got some files that I created. Here's my files. And one of them is our dashboards list. And so I've got a bunch of different dashboards. I've got a marketing dashboard. I've got the URL to where an image of the dashboard is, and some other details. And what I want to do is load these up, data bind them to some UI, and then load them when a user clicks on that UI. So I have this data source already set up in the app builder. I clicked the plus button, went through a little wizard, and added a REST API. And you can see here I've got my reveal dashboards list. So what I want to do on this screen is I want to use a card view to display the dashboard. So I'm going to drag and drop my card view here. And I want to, on the right-hand side, say this guy is data bound. I want him to be bound to my reveal dashboards list. And then I want to bind these fields that are within this component to the data that's actually live now that we're pulling in from the web. But I also want to change the way this guy looks. So there's different options here. You can have a social media column, or an actions column. I want to use the social view of this card view. And I also want the container. Let's see if row and auto works, or column and wrap. Let's see. Actually, I like this better. So they're going to go this way and then wrap down. So my scroll bar will go vertically. And then the other thing that I want to do here on this is I want to change the margin. Let's do like a 20 pixel margin, or yeah, that looks good. There's a little spacing between each one of these guys. And then let's go ahead and bind some fields. So I want to add the title field here. And let's go ahead and add the, maybe the date changed field is a good field to have. And then for the image, I've got an image URL of the dashboard in my database. So I want it to look like this. And then down here, we've got these action buttons. So when you're building your own app, you can actually have something like, oh, a favorite or share or whatever. What I'm going to do is I am going to do a button only action. And I'm going to tell this to say open dashboard, like so. Now, when I click open dashboard, what do I want to happen? I want to go to my dashboard viewer. So I'm going to add this navigation in here, and it's going to go to that page. Now, if I go back up here to my dashboard viewer, I'm just going to use this default layout. I'm going to hit Control E, which is another way to get to the toolbox. And I'm going to say, you know, show the dashboard here. So you can actually see within this tool what's actually happening. Now, up here, I've got these two buttons. What I want to do is on the first button, I'm navigating to my dashboard screen. That's good. And then on the second button click, I want to navigate to my dashboard list. So here we've got the dashboard list, which we'll work on in a second. But if I preview this, you can see I've got my dashboard list here. I click open dashboard. It's taking me to this dashboard screen. So let's go back to edit. And on the dashboard list screen, it's just going to be a little bit different. I am going to do a side-by-side layout. And this is solely to demonstrate that you have different options for the way that you may want to integrate this into your application. You can do whatever you want. I'm just kind of hopefully giving you some ideas on how you might say, yeah, I want to integrate Reveal into my app in a certain way. Maybe you have a custom data grid and you click on a row in the data grid and you want to jump to a report. All that is possible. So here, if I go to my bound fields again, let's do the title. And here we can do another field like added by. And now I can select this guy here. And I'm going to say it is an image. And I want this to be bound to, oh, do we have an image added by URL? I got that. But let's use the thumbnail URL like so, because that probably looks a little bit cooler. And then here is, again, where I'm going to stick my dashboard. So let's just add a little title thing in here. And I'm going to say, you know, stick dashboard here. All right. So I've got this client app ready to rock and roll. I've got this view. I've got this view. What I want to do in my code is when I click these guys, I want to load my dashboard right here. And when I click this guy here, I want to load my dashboard right here. And we're ready to rock and roll. So let's go to edit. What I'm going to do in the app builder, which is beautiful, is I can select the language output that I want, Angular Blazor, React coming soon. I will click download this zip, but let's call it, you know, report app 1, I guess. I just want to make sure I don't have the same one that I was using before. And there we go, report app 1.blazor. Let's go ahead. I'm going to right click on this, extract all, and there we go. There we go. Let's open up our project. We'll be able to run this and kind of see what it looks like right away. And in the meantime, there's another question. Can basically the viewer of the report, can they edit reports, save them reports? Yep. That is the unique differentiator of this product, is that we have full editor control for your client. They can create new dashboards, they can edit dashboards, they can save as, they can overwrite. It really doesn't matter. It's all up to you. So this is the Blazor app that we just created. So here I've got my dashboard list here, and here I've got my card view. If I click open dashboard, show the dashboard here. So we just got to go do a few things on these pages to make all this work and kind of bring it together. All of this code is on GitHub, and I'm going to show you where to find it. And what I'm going to be doing today, and to respect our time, is I've got some code snippets that will kind of move this along pretty fast. So the first thing that you need to do, because this is a web app, is you've got to tell your index.html that there are some script references and some things that it needs to worry about. Now, I'm going to build this app today, and you're going to notice I don't have to install a single thing on my app on my computer. I can just run everything for Reveal without installing anything. And if you want to create your own server, we'll do that at the end. But we have a server in the cloud that you can actually test with. So it's actually pretty sweet. So what I'm going to do here is I need to add a couple script references. So they're pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And just so you know where all of this code is at, if I go bring over this other web browser, I just want to highlight this. We have a repository here called SDK samples JavaScript. And not every possible thing, but most things that you would want to do through the SDK, there's code samples here for. So for example, there was a question about, linking. Can I go from this to something else? Yeah, you can link to a dashboard, or you can link to a web page. How would you do that? Well, all of the code is here on how that dashboard linking would actually work. So everything you need is either in the client or in the server code here. And the server code, all of this is done pretty straightforward. These are .NET 6 APIs. And so you'll see today there's very limited work to actually set all this stuff up. But if you go to GitHub, github.com/revealbi, you will see that we've got a bunch of repositories here with tons of different samples based on your platform or whatever. So if you're using Java, we've got Java samples. If you're using Node.js, we've got Node.js. We also have a document object model you can use, React, blah, blah, blah. So it's all up there. You can check it out when you need. So that's where all these little snippets are from. And this sample will also be up on GitHub as well. When we follow up later, when we send you the webinar replay, you'll be able to get that there as well. So now you'll notice here that I've got this module that I want to reference. It's called revealview.js. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new folder here. And you don't have to do it this way, but this is sort of keeping things organized and in good shape. I'm going to call this the Reveal folder. And inside the Reveal folder, I want to add a new JavaScript file. And this JavaScript file will be called revealview.js. So I will just say here, revealview.js. And what revealview is, this is really the most important file, because it's what's calling the server to add what you need to get done to load the dashboard. So the server that I'm talking about is here. This is the URL to the server. Once we're done with this Blazor client, we're going to create our own server, and you'll see how to do this locally on your own machine. And then this is where you do all of your own customizations. There's two like sort of features here that I've enabled. We have a new charting package that we're implementing. Of course, Infragistics builds UI controls. These are all of our own components, but we're updating our charting package to a more flexible, maybe more feature-rich charting package. And maybe you'll see that today if you've ever seen a demo before. And then sometimes we have beta features that we don't release in our public, but we allow customers to use. And that's what kind of happens there. But this is really the magic of the product, is we are loading this dashboard object into something called the Reveal View. So you'll see where I load up the Reveal View, but essentially we are passing a div to this function, and this function then loads the dashboard from this server. This server is either your server or our server. It's really up to you how that all comes together. So in terms of pure, what are you doing on the client in your index HTML in WW root? That's all you need to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and update our dashboards view here and our dashboards list, and then our dashboard viewer. So if I go to the dashboard viewer first, actually, you'll recall we have this little bit here that says show the dashboard here. Well, what I actually want to do here is I want to add that div, which is where we're going to load the dashboard. And that's all this is. It's something called reveal view. And remember, reveal view gets passed to that JavaScript function. And that's where I'm going to load up my dashboard. Now, what dashboard am I actually loading up here? Well, remember, we want to click that open report button. So what I'm going to do is use the navigation routing in Blazor, and I'm going to pass my value from that other page, which I'll show you that in 1 second. And then the other thing that we need to do here is we want to load that JavaScript file so we can actually interact with JavaScript and the server at the same time. And that's how Blazor works, is through something called the IJS runtime. So whenever you're doing JavaScript with Blazor, especially Blazor WASM, you need to inject the IJS runtime. And basically, all we need to do next is add a little bit of code that's actually going to load, the dashboard. So here, if I drag this guy on, what's going to happen is I'm on this protected override void async on after render async. This is when the page actually loads. We want to invoke our JavaScript runtime. We want to call load reveal view. Where was load reveal view? Load reveal view is right here. So that's this JavaScript file. That's what I'm saying. That's really the guts of it. What are we going to pass it? We're going to pass it this thing called reveal view. And what do we want back? Well, we want back the dashboard value that is actually being passed in here. So the way that Blazor works is to get parameters here, you actually have a parameter object. And this is how it works. You have a parameter attribute and it's on your public variable. So now everything here will sort of work perfectly. Now, how do I get this value in here? Let's go back to the dashboards list. And if you recall, I've got that card and I've got this button that says open dashboard. Well, open dashboard is doing what? It's saying on click, navigate to the dashboard viewer. Okay, cool. So I need to do what? I'm going to pass it this variable, which is part of this object called item. So this is saying for item in this list, go ahead and splat out the title, the date change, etc. Well, the title is actually the name of my dashboard. So I want to just pass it like so. And let's do a control V, and I've got item.title. Now I can save this. We'll run our app. And what we'll have now is the ability to load dashboards. And that is how easy it is to load reveal into your application. So I'm going to click open dashboard. Boom, on my server, I've got a dashboard called campaigns and my dashboard just loaded. Let's open up the healthcare guy, open dashboard. I'm here inside of my healthcare dashboard. Let's go to this guy here, telecom customers, open this dashboard. I've got my whole dashboard here, which looks really, really slick. And let's very quickly look at our dashboard list application. So this one is going to be very similar to what we just did. The only difference is it's all on the same page. So here I've got this IGB list item, and that's where all of my options are. So I've got my thumbnail URL, I've got title, I've got added by. So what I want to do is have a similar click event here, but on this, I don't want to do a navigate to dashboard view because that's what we did on the other guy. I essentially just want to say, go ahead and give me an event on this page. So I'm going to say selected item changed. And then in selected item changed, what I want to pass is this same item that we're working with here. So I've got item, which is all of the stuff here, item that's part of my reveal dashboards list. And then selected item change, we're just going to go ahead and add here in the code. So what we do here is we do an async and we do a void, and I'm going to call this selected item changed. And what we want to pass here is this dashboard's type. And the dashboard's type, just so you know where everything is at, because this was generated in the code, is you've got the reveal dashboards list dashboard, and this is the type that gets passed around. So it is called dashboards type, and really that's what you want to do. So here I've got reveal dashboards list dot dashboards type. So I'm going to say dot dashboards type. And what do I want to get? We'll just call this thing dashboard, like so. And that's the item that I just passed in. So now what I want to do is I want to do the same thing I did before, was invoke that JavaScript runtime. So I'm going to need to inject, because it does all this stuff automatically for you. So now I'm just going to pass this guy in, JS runtime invoke. I have my dashboard object here. And the nice thing is, if you sort of forget what you're doing here, you've got all of the IntelliSense and autocomplete. So I'm going to pass in the dashboard title. So it's the same sort of operation that happens, but it is happening a little bit different. So, oh, there we go. So I was missing a parenthesis. So now let's go ahead and run this guy. We did the first one, worked beautifully. Now let's go to our dashboard list. So this is just the same idea, but in a slightly different view. And you'll notice when I'm clicking this guy, I didn't add my reveal view. So let's go ahead and right where it says stick dashboard here, I'll add the same exact thing I added to the other guy, which is this div, which is going to hold the reveal view, which is what we're passing right here. And that's the final thing here to get this guy going. And we are all set. So we've got two different ways of viewing. You could have other ways as well. You might have, like I said, a data grid and then load the dashboard going the other way. So it's really up to you how you want your application to work. But my point with this demo is it's super simple to start getting this stuff integrated into your applications with very little code. Now, one last thing, let me go to index.html again. Let's just add our script reference in. Paste our script reference in. Quilt somehow is missing from my app. So what you're going to see now is, fingers crossed, this guy working as it should. So let's open up campaigns. Let's go expand this guy out. I'm going to click edit here. And now I'm in the editor. Thank goodness the JavaScript reference was my issue. So now I'm in this editor, and this is what your users have the ability to do. So now they can go ahead and remove whatever report was actually there and maybe do something completely different, or they can just add a brand new report. So see, this guy here is spend versus budget, and I've got year. Maybe I don't want spline area. Maybe I want a column chart for 2 years like so. Maybe I just even want a pie chart to make it look like this. And then on each one of these, you click the items, you have options to modify and change, like the way numbers are formatted, how things show up, the way fields are rendered. So here I'm going to say spend, and we'll just change this to yearly spend. And then it updates all of the labels on, what's showing on however you happen to be doing this. But it is a complete WYSIWYG drag and drop experience that gives you complete control, or your users complete control over creating reports, editing reports. And then if I click the save button here, and I click this little box and I click the save button, now this is saved. So it's saved for whoever has access to this report. Or if you want to disable this overwrite, you could just force save as, and then that user would say save as. You'd pop up a dialog, they'd enter a new name, and then that would save that dashboard out. So the beauty of Reveal, different than all the other guys on the market, is the ability to do things like editing on the client, on the web, or on the .NET Client app, which is either Windows Forms or WPF. You also have things like global filters, so you can do all kinds of filter scenarios. In this case, like I've got this guy set up by campaign, I can just do campaigns like so. And this is like a campaigns dashboard. So if I go back to my dashboard view, let's see if there's a marketing guy here. And let me see if I have this wired up. I may or I may not. Let's see. Let me open campaigns. Doesn't look like it's wired up, but this guy here on the tooltip where you click open campaigns, that's where you would do the drill into the other dashboard. At the same time, if I look here, I can do a drill down into data that is like, for example, the month of April, or I can do a drill up based on what your data, we're automatically going to do that for you. So you've got this full round robin editing experience in the product and basically total control. And your users can do things based on the data type of doing a tabular. Just for the viewer perspective, this won't persist it, but they can look at data in different ways that they want based on what's been done. So you notice here, I've got different visualization options because I might want to look at it like this, and we'll just automatically change it for that viewer, but it won't persist because they're not in edit mode. If you go into edit mode, now if I change this to, let's say a combo chart, and I'm going to do tasks as the one chart, and we'll do projects as the second chart. Now I've got this guy here. I can also change the chart types. So let's say this visualization one, I want to be an area chart, and I want it to look a little bit better. So I'm going to set the minimum axis to 10,000 like so, and it gives me a little more breathing room there. And then my secondary axis, we'll set its minimum to, well, it's already at 2,000. So, I mean, the low number's at 2,000, so we can just leave it there. But that's it. Now I check the box, I hit down, I hit check, and now that dashboard is automatically saved to that dashboards folder. And basically that's how it works. That's how this round robin saving works. You don't have to write any code to do that. It's automatic. Now, what if you want to do your own server? We're a little bit over time. There's still some folks on the line. This will take about 5 minutes, but if you stick around, you'll see kind of how all this connects. So if I go back to Reveal.js here, I'm using our test server up in the cloud, but you're going to be using your own server, right? You're not going to use our test server because you got your own dashboards. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up Visual Studio and you're going to create a new project. This is going to be a .NET Core Web API. If you're using Java, it can be a Java API. If you're using Node, we've got a Node server as well. And I'm going to call this Reveal API Server, demo 33. And use controllers is fine. It doesn't matter. You're going to see how simple it is to get this going. Now, remember, we're dealing with dashboards here. So dashboards, in my case, I've already got these guys pre-created, and that I created them using another tool called Slingshot, where you can organize and manage all of your dashboards that you might be distributing to your users as reports. But I'm going to add a new folder here, which I did, and I'm going to rename this guy, and I'm going to call it dashboards. So everything we do with Reveal is like having to do with this dashboards folder. That's where we're automatically going to load stuff to. We're automatically going to save stuff to there. It's like where we're always looking for stuff. Now I want to manage NuGet packages. So I want to add the Reveal BI NuGet package to this application. So Reveal SDK Web ASP.NET Core trial. Install this guy, and yes, accept all the defaults. I accept, rock and roll. I'm done. So now all I got to do is light up this application with Reveal. How do I do that? First thing I want to do is tell it to use the Reveal SDK. And we do that right here. And then here under add controllers, I'm just going to tack onto this, add Reveal, like so. Done. Now I want to use this locally. So this will run right now. So check this out. I'm going to go ahead and add some dashboards here. I already have them on my machine. Add some existing dashboards. So this is all happening like local on my Windows 11 machine. And I'm going to hit the run button. And this is using Swagger endpoints, which you'll see the beauty of that in a second. So all of the API here, the posts, the gets, the et cetera for Reveal light up. So you've got all of this API available to you from the server side. But let's do a get on the dashboard. And I have a dashboard in there called sales. I'm going to click execute, and look, there's my dashboard. So this is the JSON that's actually in this file called like an R- file. And that gets sent back to the client. We parse it on the client. And then all of the stuff is in here that's needed to render. So let's close this and let's add one more thing so I can run this from a Blazor app. And if you're a savvy web guy, you know I'm going to do all this locally. I need cross-origin resource scripting. So I'm going to create a policy here. I'm going to call it allow all. And then, yes, when I'm in development mode, I'm going to say app.useCores. and use this course policy called allow all. And I am done. So that's all you need to do to get a reveal server going. So how do I use this? Well, let's start this guy up again. I use it by taking this URL here, localhost 7166. I'll minimize this, minimize this. See this guy here, paste it right in like so, 1/, done, save, run. So my dashboards happen to be named the same as that database I have in the cloud, but when I click open, it's actually grabbing this from my local app. So this is all happening on localhost. If I go here, it's all happening on localhost. This is all happening locally, and I can prove that because I got campaigns and marketing here. They both seem to load. If I go back here, let's go to my server, my demo server, and I'll right click on campaigns. Oh, I gotta hit stop to do things radical. Like let's delete all of these guys. So then the only one I have locally then would be telecom customers. So let's go ahead and run that. And in this Swagger API, if I do a get, I do try it out, and let's just type in sales again, and I execute it, I should get an error. Yeah, invalid request. So now let's go back to our Blazor app, and we'll run this guy again, and we will get the same error. So all my dashboard views will still load, because remember, this is data coming from the cloud. Now let's open campaigns, and now we go to developer tools, and what are we going to see? All kinds of bad things, blah, blah, blah. Of course, there's nothing there. Now let's go back and let's close, or we'll leave it there. Let's find our telecom, open dashboard, and that dashboard is there. So that worked just fine. So yeah, that's how this all ties together between the client and the server. You'll notice I didn't do anything to get any of this installed. You get this trial SDK thing here, and that's how you know you're using the trial version. But you know, getting this integrated into your apps is super, super simple. All of this is in GitHub. Like I mentioned, go to Reveal BI and you can get sample code for everything. Again, I want to thank everyone. You'll get a follow-up from our marketing department, either Jesse or JJ, with this video, with the slide deck, etc. And we will see you all at the next webinar.